All right, welcome back to the Hoopz Junkies podcast. I'm your host, Marcus, with my brother AB. So we are going to pick up this conversation from where we left off the last time. And since the last post, we have a bit of a development. Would you say, AB, kind of like important development?
A couple developments.
We had a couple of developments, so that we're gonna kind of get into that. This one is, I think, as far as AB's concerned, this is more like a "I told you so," kind of like a victory lap, because our discussion last time was Daryl Morey, the ex-general manager of the Houston Rockets, left the team. He was stepping down from his position that we knew of. He was stepping down from his position because he said he wanted to spend more time with the family, and he just kind of wanted to pursue some other life goals and all of this stuff. And I was kind of giving him the benefit of the doubt, but AB wasn't having it. So now we found out some things. You want to discuss that with them? Some stuff that we found out?
I'm not the type of person to say I told you so. And I really, and I really don't feel good about having to say that I told you so.
Hold on, wait. Before we get into this, if you are watching this podcast, I want you to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, smash the subscribe button, smash the like button, and leave comments down below. Whether you agree with us or not, we want to hear from you. We just want a little bit more interaction with it. It helps the channel and it helps us encourage us to keep on bringing you guys more content. This is when I was talking about victory lap. When you take your victory lap, it's because, remember, in the last podcast we were talking about you think that Daryl Morey, that Tillman Fertitta was trying to force Morey out after the whole tweet incident about China, and I was on the opposite end of that.
Well, what I say is either one, he wanted him out because of the China trade. So I do believe that that's true, but I think that he didn't want to take the backlash of firing him because of what Morey tweeted was something that
it would be a PR nightmare. It'd be a PR nightmare.
So from the PR nightmare, it's like, well, I can't fire him. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna make your job impossible and unpleasant to do all the time. And that started with I'm not gonna allow you to extend Mike D'Antoni. Right. So Mike D'Antoni was responsible. I'm not a Mike D'Antoni fan. I do think we needed a new coach, but he's responsible for the highest, the best winning regular season in Rockets history, and probably the best team we've had in 25 years. Got right on the brink, and to not even to negotiate with him as if he was a first-time head coach, and you're trying to pay him like first-time head coach money. That was going to be an insult. Well, now you're pushing out the coach that Daryl Morey wants, and then to float the idea out there about John Lucas. Mm-hmm. So we're going to go from, no matter how much I don't like Mike D'Antoni, you can't go from Mike D'Antoni to John Lucas.
Right, agreed.
And have a James Harden and Russell Westbrook in their prime and say that you want to win a championship and be serious about it.
All right, so the owner... So the owner of the team, Tillman Fertitta, forces. I agree with you. I see it now.
He forced Mike D'Antoni out and Daryl Morey.
He forced Mike D'Antoni and Daryl Morey out, and he brings in Stephen Silas as the new head coach. Stephen Silas been in the league for 20 years as far as being assistant coaches on different teams.
Yeah.
And this is his first head coaching gig. Now, the word around the league is that it's a good hire. Everybody loves this dude. He's gonna come in and he's gonna. He's a perfect fit as far as the head coach and his involvement with the players, and the players love him and all of that good stuff. But he is considered a rookie head coach now, and so now you're dealing with an owner in Tillman Fertitta who has his thumb on the team, and he has his pretty much his DNA over all the decision making. How does Stephen Silas navigate that position, that new position that he's in under an owner like Tillman Fertitta. Because I tell you what, if a general manager with the experience that Daryl Morey has and the credibility that he has, if he had an issue with that owner, how can this new head coach come in and set his mark and be able to do stuff the way he want to do it?
That's the difference between having an experienced head coach and someone that's just getting their first opportunity. You know, when you're just trying to get your you're trying to get a foot in the door, then you gotta, you're gonna be willing to put up with a little bit more micromanaging. You're gonna put, you just want to get the opportunity, that you've been working for 20 years to get your opportunity. So, from the standpoint of the hire, I'm happy about it. I'm optimistic about it. I thought that I just didn't want to get a retread.
I'm happy about it. I'm happy about it because we finally have somebody in there that I think will pay attention to details when it matters the most. Even though he's a rookie, I mean, if we can get to the playoffs, I think we have more of a chance than having Mike D'Antoni in, because he just didn't pay attention to details.
Yeah. So we know that he's a really great offensive mind, because from all accounts, he's the person that's been the most responsible for the Dallas Mavericks offense this past season, being the highest rated offense in NBA history. So he's getting the credit for that, and also a large part of the player development. We don't have very many players to develop, but hey, hopefully we'll start turning over a new leaf and get some people in there. But the biggest thing, so if he's going to be a really good offensive mind, and we've seen the floor of a James Harden team pretty much. James Harden offense is, as long as you have James Harden out there, and you still emphasize, I'm assuming the Rockets are still going to emphasize the threes as far as the analytics and stuff are concerned.
It's almost you almost have to, because that's where the league is going now. If you don't follow that trend, you're going to be getting left behind. So
and then the general manager is stepping up. Work with Daryl Morey, has been on the staff for a long time, so I'm assuming that they're all in on that. So with that being said, I expect the offense to still be good. The only thing now we're looking for Stephen Silas is to come in and be an upgrade to Mike D'Antoni, and when it comes to tactical adjustments, in-game adjustments, and things like that. That's where Mike D'Antoni would come up short. He had the philosophy, but once someone made a counter, he didn't have another counter. This is my philosophy, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, y'all go figure it out. Well, we're losing games because we don't have anyone to lead or make, actual tactical adjustments in crucial moments. You're just telling your players to figure it out.
Well, let's move this along. So I saw recently on the First Take with Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman, and Stephen A. was pretty much saying that as far as hiring Silas as the new head coach, that he thinks that the issue is going to be a stubbornness on the part of James Harden and Russell Westbrook to want to change up. I disagree with that. And the reason why I disagree, not so much with Russell Westbrook aspect of it, I just don't know as much about Russell Westbrook because I've been watching James Harden more over the years.
Yeah.
I think people be sleeping on James Harden when it comes to him not wanting to change up, because remember, James Harden came to the Rockets team as a shooting guard. And then when Mike D'Antoni took over, he was asked to be the point guard, and he thought Mike D'Antoni was crazy. But he did it. He was the dueling point guard with Chris Paul. They said that they both couldn't coexist together. So I think but he did it. And they almost made it to the finals because of that. So I think people they so quick to assume that James Harden is stubborn and he's not going to want to make the adjustments.
The answer for the argument for the last 3 years of Rockets basketball has been, when you pair James Harden with another ball dominant player, that it won't work because there's only one ball, right? They said the same thing about Chris Paul and James Harden, and they ended up having the most successful regular season they've had in their history.
Shocked everybody.
And really, when you go back and look at that team, they won 65 games But if you recall, they had actually a 5-game losing streak in the middle of the season because people were out, you know, and then
and then at the end they started resting
they
players.
started resting people because they had already wrapped up so really that probably was a 70-win team, 70+ win team. You know, and Chris Paul missed 25 games.
Yeah.
You know, and they still won 65 games. So that's how well it worked. And then last year, you know, with Russell Westbrook on the team, Westbrook had his most efficient season ever in his NBA career.
Mike D'Antoni is going to be an assistant coach with Steve Nash on the Brooklyn Nets team. Are you concerned about that in any way? Does he have a positive impact? Does Mike D'Antoni move the needle for them?
I don't fear him. I do think that they'll be a good offense, but as long as you had Kevin Durant on the team and Kyrie Irving, you're probably already going to be good on offense.
Does Mike D'Antoni's offensive mind enhance that though? I mean, some people say that Mike D'Antoni was like super turbocharged James Harden. Do you think that happens with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant because of
That's
Mike
a good
D'Antoni
question because Kyrie Irving, one thing he has proven is that he may be able to get his, but he don't help other people. He doesn't make other people better.
Right.
So outside of his time with LeBron James, he's never really moved the needle on winning. And you know, when he missed time with the Celtics, they didn't skip a beat. They were in the conference finals without him.
I don't know if KD improves people either. I don't know if he
same thing. So I don't expect the Brooklyn Nets to be a serious contender. I think they'll be around the 4th, 5th, anywhere between like 3 through 6 seed in the East.
Really?
Because I think it's pretty hard to go lower than the 6th seed in the East. You know.
I mean, but you don't think that they end up at like number 2 or something like that?
No.
Who do you put ahead of them?
Assuming that everything doesn't come crumbling down in Boston, Milwaukee's got questions. There's teams with question marks. Miami should be on the rise.
Yeah.
So there's some teams with question marks, and I think that Brooklyn may be, you know, in the top 6 by default because I just don't think you can dip lower than that. But they kind of remind me of Philly, talented, but disjointed, and I don't think that Kyrie and Kevin Durant coming off of Achilles injury, I don't think that is gonna move the needle.
Well, I tell you what, if KD comes back even like 90% his old self, I put them somewhere between 1 and 4.
Okay, so we've seen Kevin Durant in the West without Russell Westbrook, right? They weren't really a threat.
But this Kevin Durant is way better than that.
No, this Kevin Durant is not as good as you know what I'm saying. Like the Kevin Durant that was in Oklahoma City in his prime, is better than this Kevin Durant that's coming off of Achilles injury.
Because of the Achilles injury, or just better than
because of the Achilles injury? You're coming off an Achilles injury.
I mean, but that's why I say if he's even 90% of the old Kevin Durant, I think they still go pretty high as far as they position.
I'm willing to take bets on that. Matter of fact, I'm gonna have to go to Vegas or something because I can already see they're gonna get overrated. They're gonna get overrated, and I don't think so. I don't see it.
Okay, let me do this. I say
neither one
Miami,
of them are leaders.
I say Miami number 1. I say Boston number 2. I say the Raptors number 3 and Brooklyn Nets number 4. I think that's the order that it's gonna go in there.
What about Philly?
If Kevin Durant is 90%.
What about Philly?
I think Philly go.
What about Milwaukee?
I say Philly go 5 and Milwaukee go 6. I don't even know if Giannis gonna even still be on Milwaukee.
So Milwaukee is gonna go from being a 60+ win team the last 2 years to
if they it's some new factors that's been
Those factors
That's
don't
some new
move the needle
factors.
markers in the regular season. Assuming that Giannis is still in Milwaukee.
That's
Assuming Giannis is in Milwaukee.
assuming that.
Now,
Yep.
if Giannis is out of Milwaukee, then yeah, all bets is off. But if Giannis is in Milwaukee, that you can write him in for another 55 plus wins, probably 60. What's changing?
I think people starting to figure Giannis out. For real.
In the regular season.
I think.
I mean, in the playoffs, figuring them out in the playoffs is different than figuring them out in the regular season.
I think Giannis has lost his mystique, just like Joel Embiid kind of lost some mystique over these. You just know that they don't pull it out when it counts.
Hey man,
so
we're going to put something on it.
We're gonna put something.
Look,
like I said,
you know what?
Put some dew on it.
You know what? Regardless of what the regular season record is, because like I said, in the East, those top six or whatever, however they could fall, however different ways. I think Milwaukee would still be at the top of that, in the top 1-3 for sure. But they're not coming out of the East. That much I'm confident.
Milwaukee not coming out of the East.
I bet not Milwaukee, Brooklyn. I bet the house that Brooklyn is not coming out of the East.
Wait, so you don't think that they'll even be in the playoffs?
No, they'll be in the playoffs. I'm saying they're not a threat. They're not a serious threat. They're not a serious threat.
Well,
they're built, but I think they're built behind two players who are not leaders, and Kevin Durant or Kyrie Irving, two players who don't necessarily make their teammates better, make their team better. Like Kevin Durant is an ultimate get his guy.
But wait, hold on. Okay. So Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook on OKC. Neither of those guys are really leaders.
Russell Westbrook's a leader. Apparently, Russell Westbrook is a leader. For every teammate, everybody that's been with Russell Westbrook, everybody to a man has said that he's the best leader the best teammate they ever had, and the best leader that they had.
But do you think that Russ and KD was more dangerous than a KD and a Kyrie Irving would be?
Yes, because Russell Westbrook is better than Kyrie Irving. Way better. He's a better leader. He's a better all-around player. The only thing that Kyrie Irving is better than Russell Westbrook at is shooting the ball and handling the ball. Right? But then outside of that, when every other factor to the game of basketball, Russell Westbrook is better. To include being a leader and making yourself better, your teammates better.
I think you're wrong. I think Brooklyn's gonna be somebody to watch out for.
We're gonna watch this. They're this season's Clippers. Everybody want to elevate the Clippers and say how great they were gonna be. Great.
But I'm not saying that they're gonna win it. I'm not saying that they're gonna come out of the East as far as winning it all. But I think they're gonna be in the mix. I think they'll be in the mix.
Define in the mix.
In the mix means they probably make it to the second round. If they make it to the playoffs, I think that they'll make it to the second round.
They can make. I can see that.
I can see that.
They can make a second round team.
Yeah.
Do you have more confidence in them or the Rockets?
I have more confidence in. That's a good question. I have more confidence in them, just because the Rockets' dynamic has changed drastically. It's changed drastically. We got to see what this owner going to do. The biggest threat to the Rockets right now is Tillman Fertitta.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
and
so
I actually think
we got
the Brooklyn Nets and
we got to see what
Brooklyn and I think Brooklyn and the Rockets are in a very, very similar situation as far as expectations aligning with reality.
We're dealing with a brand new owner for the Rockets, and then now we're dealing with a brand new coach for the Rockets with no big man and a whole new different offensive scheme that's going to have to be put in place that the players going to have to get used to in the age of COVID. Everything has changed for the Rockets. As far as the Brooklyn Nets, you have you might have a new coach
a first-time coach.
You have a first-time coach,
He never even been an assistant before.
But he's backed up by Mike D'Antoni. Couldn't
get the job done.
but who has a record of getting right there in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He just can't get over the hump, and hopefully Steve Nash can get them over the hump.
They're also led by a player coming off the worst injury in basketball for Kevin Durant, and a Kyrie Irving who can't ever stay healthy.
Well,
He always hurt.
Both of them having issues with health. So, but let's leave it there. We'll pick up this discussion on another podcast. But hey guys, thanks for watching the Hoopz Junkies podcast. I'm Marcus, that's AB, and we out. Thank you for watching the Hoopz Junkies podcast. We hope that you enjoyed the video. And if you did, make sure that you hit the like button, subscribe, and comment down below. And if you want to check out more videos, don't forget to hit the bell notification so that you are alerted anytime we post new videos.